I come from a family where my grandparents fled anti-Semitism and persecution. The country took us in, and protected us. And I feel an obligation to the country to pay back. And this is the highest, best use of my own set of skills to pay back. And so I want very much to be the kind of attorney general that you're saying I could become.
Guys, that's your next attorney general. Isn't that good news? An emotional Merrick Garland recalling his family's history fleeing anti-Semitism as he explains his motivation for wanting to become the country's attorney general. Nearly 5 years after his nomination for a seat on the Supreme Court was torpedoed by Mitch McConnell and the Senate Republicans, Merrick Garland finally got his confirmation hearing, this time as President Biden's nominee for AG. At an event announcing his nomination, Biden told Garland, quote, "Your loyalty is not to me. It's to the law, the Constitution, the people of this nation. Restoring the integrity and the independence of the Justice Department is just one of the many challenges facing Garland should he be confirmed. He'll also take the reins of a sprawling investigation into the attack on the Capitol and lead the DOJ's efforts to combat domestic extremism." Joining our conversation, MSNBC legal analyst Andrew Weissmann, who worked at the Department of Justice as chief of the Fraud Division and as the lead prosecutor in Robert Mueller's special counsel's office. Claire is still here. I mean, to see that emotion and that love of country, and that the next attorney general is someone who feels like he owes the country something, is such a pivot is not a strong enough word from what we just went through, where they were there wringing out every last public servant for their trespasses against, I don't know what, Trumpism, I guess. What an appearance today, Andrew Weissmann.
Well, Nicole, I had the exact same impression. You compare this to the former Attorney General, William Barr, the contrast in terms of humility, in terms of a sense of giving to the country, of really approaching this as the people's lawyer, not the president's lawyer. And I don't think there's anyone who can think that that's not going to happen under Attorney General Garland. So in terms of those all-important signals and that personal message, it was really quite moving. But it was just as strong a contrast going from Trump to Biden as for us who lived in the Department of Justice as it will be going from Barr to Merrick Garland.
I want to ask both of you about this reporting about the role that prosecuting Timothy McVeigh had on him. This is actually part of the Garland story. I remember reading it when he was nominated, but not really focusing on it. I don't know that all these details were ever shared, but I want to read this from the Washington Post. Garland said that he initially feared, because of reports of additional threats and truck bombs, that the Oklahoma City explosion was just the beginning of some kind of rebellion or war. Larry Mackey, a prosecutor in the McVeigh case, and that of co-conspirator Terry Nichols, said Garland encouraged investigators to run down possible connections to militia groups, cognizant that the case had greater meaning for the nation. His message, and we certainly understood and believed it, and I think ultimately the jury did as well, was that we're going to respond to terrorism by relying on the institutions that made this country so great, Mackey said. Merrick's theme and the prosecution's theme was we're going to be greater than they are. Claire, I think it's just, again, whatever your politics, this is a person who has experience prosecuting the kind of extremism that led to the January 6th insurrection.
Yeah, and he lived it. And he saw, we were very fortunate. If you think of the loss of life that occurred on January 6th, it was tragic that we lost lives, but nothing compared to what some of these groups could do with a well-placed bomb in a crowded area. Domestic terrorism is, in fact, the biggest threat to our country, and Merrick Garland knows it in his bones. And I am so comfortable. He's got a lot of work to do. I mean, I think Andrew can speak to the repairing and the restoring that needs to go on internally in DOJ. The career prosecutors who have been so discouraged. I mean, we actually had an attorney general try to dismiss a case after a criminal had pled guilty, because he was a buddy of the president's. And I got to just say this right now. I know I shouldn't go on this long right now, but I can't help it. I watched part of that hearing. I mean, Nicole, give me a break. Can you believe Cruz and Cornyn sat there and lectured Garland Merrick on politicizing DOJ? After what they put up with no hearings, no brushback, with the president under Donald Trump, what he did at DOJ. It was disgusting how Trump politicized DOJ. I mean, he tried to do it even more than he got away with. And the nerve of them to sit there and act like that, you know, I mean, Cornyn said the only reason he could ever vote against him is if he wouldn't pledge to keep politics out of DOJ. I mean, these guys have some nerve, don't they?
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.